everybody, welcome to one of my very first YouTube videos. We are going to talk about New York Comic Con 2022 next weekend and our friends over at Metazoo who will be joining the Comic Con. Now, if you're like me and some of my friends collecting Metazoo, this is a Facebook group, Metazoo Playground, ran by one of my good friends. So they convinced me to go to New York Comic Con, and I'm just preparing for us. So I figured I would share what our prep or what my prep method is as someone who is taking other people's cards to get signed by the Metazoo artists. So there's a very easy way to be organized, and there's an easy way to help the line be a little quicker, because I did hear that it's Metazoo has one booth for all of the artists. So this is what I do whenever I do signings, whether it's Pokemon, sports, now Metazoo. So taking cards for other people can sometimes be a hassle. You never want to make anyone feel like it's a hassle though, but you want to stay as organized as possible. In this case, I only have cards for a total of 4 people. Everyone has a different letter for their first name, so I don't need to be very meticulous of, how I label the cards. So for instance, these 4 cards are all going to go to daily, the same artist for the same person. So what I'm going to do, which they shipped me carefully and protected, is I'm going to take their cards out of what they sent to me. The reason for this is if you had to do this in front of the, whether it's, again, Pokemon, sports, Metazoo, no matter who it is, if you had to do this in front of them, that takes time. So here's the best way to prep. First, if you're taking consignments, the person that you're taking consignments from should always have their cards labeled for you. In this case, they didn't label their card, but what I like to do is have them put their name, my name, and their order number, because I do everything through a website. But in this case, I know it's just a couple of my friends that were using this for this YouTube video specifically. So we're just going to call this person B. Now, sticky notes will not ruin your cards. It's the best way to make sure that cards do not get mixed up. My card might be a little damaged. Your card might not be. So I'm making sure that everyone's cards are always correctly labeled. This way, when you clean up after the event, you can quickly ship your consignments back to your friends or your consigners. Next, I bought poster board from Walmart, and from Amazon I bought corner tabs. So now we are going to make this poster board specifically for the artist daily. I do not know how to pronounce her first name, and I'm terrible at pronouncing names, so I don't want to butcher it. So we're just going by last name in this case. Now, this poster board is a little too long for my backpack that I'll be bringing. So what I did was I already cut it down to where it'll fit not only in my backpack, but 2 rows of 4 cards for a total of 8 cards. You guys didn't need to see me cut paper on live, so I pre-cut it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to carefully peel the corner off here. They are very sticky, and I already put one corner on the other side. Carefully slide the other corner in. These do not ruin your cards. If you need to leave yourself any room for notes on the poster board of, is it sign and sketch, just sign? Is it a card that gets, signed by 2 artists, whatever you need to do to have a note on the paper, leave yourself room if needed. In my case, I already know what everyone is requesting. So we're just gonna carefully put the corners down. So we're gonna do this for all 4 of B's cards. And then we have 4 of my own cards that I'll be adding for daily as well. Now, what is the point of doing this? Well, when this is complete, you're gonna have 8 cards on one poster board with access for the artist to sign all 8 cards without having to worry about cards drying, without having to worry about, pulling cards away, taking them out of sleeves, out of top loaders, whatever you have it in on the way there. This is the best way to prep a sheet of cards. Now, if the person is left-handed, the best thing to do would be top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. That way they don't smudge. If the person is right-handed, you just do the opposite way. And this way, or you just go all top and then all bottom. This way, no card smudges and you have your cards easily accessible for the artist. Now, we know from our experience with Pokemon artists that these lines can get absolutely long. I've heard at other collecticons these lines get very long. Sometimes you're only able to do 5 to 10 autographs and then have to get back in line. So I am hoping that this helps the perception of speeding up the line for everybody. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with taking time on their autograph. I think the more time they take on their autographs or sketches, the better for the collector, because it means they care. But we also know, for how popular it is right now, that there are going to be extremely long lines. So anything that we can do to help those lines, I think we should do. And that is the point of this exercise and example video of how I handle signings and how I handle making sure that any consignments I take, especially for people I don't know, but obviously want to take care of my friends as well, that the correct cards are in fact being signed and being returned to the rightful owner. So generally, like I said earlier on, I have on a sticky note, you would label your entire card with your name, my name, and your address and your order number. Sometimes a phone call in case there's a question during the autograph signing. That's mostly for specifically mailed in requests only. Obviously, if you're there yourself, you can give the request to the athlete, to the artist. And the reason for that is just to stay as organized as possible with everyone's cards, because you are trusting the person that is doing the consignment for you to do everything correctly. Now, for daily, I chose to go with a couple of these Nightfall promos. And that, once I finish these 4, will finish this sheet. Now, another way to protect all these boards in my backpack on the way to the event, in the event, is a, not necessarily a gallon size bag, but a bag big enough to fit a piece of thicker cardboard around all the cards that are being brought. And that way nothing gets bent during transportation. So now this is a completed sheet. I have space to, put notes, either like whose cards these are, is it sketch and sign or just sign. So there's room for notes, but this is basically your quickest way to be prepared for each artist, to be prepared to help the line move quick, and have a moment to chat with the artist as well. So that second sheet right there was for Afton. This sheet is for Bruins. Now this sheet I did not cut yet, so that one I have to cut. Here's an example of one that I was working on where the size poster board I bought, I can fit 8 on the sheet, and then I can fit another 4 on the top, and then 1 here and 1 here for 2 more sideways. Obviously that's gonna be a little different for the person signing. So those cards were for Peckham and for Isaac. Then we have a couple cards for Lily, a couple more cards for Daly. We have a bunch for Poncho, some more for Poncho. And our last round here of cards is for Kelsey. So obviously I still have to cut down these sheets. It would make more sense to cut down these sheets prior to putting cards on them, in order to avoid damaging any cards, but I'll be very careful with scissors. So I hope everyone has a great time at New York Comic-Con, any future Collecticon, any future Metazoo event where you're going to enjoy meeting the artists that are helping to design the awesome cards for this game, all the awesome artworks that they work on, and hopefully this helps to be quicker and more organized as you go through and meet some of the artists. One last thing is ink color. So I've seen quite a few cards get signed so far. My personal favorite is when they actually sign on the holographic of the card and in white ink. I think white ink has been really popping on these cards. Some people prefer the text box. Some people prefer, sketches in the text box, sketches on the holo. I still think that white ink has been overall the best. I think if there's a green that matches everything, green might look pretty cool too. But overall, white has definitely been the solid option out there for your Metazoo autographs. So if you are on Facebook, again, my friend's group is Metazoo Playground on Facebook. Feel free to join us and keep an eye out for what happens with all these autograph cards from the artist. Thank you for watching.